Hare Krishna. I welcome all to our Bhagavad Gita class. Today, I'm taking a special session, and this session is called Psychological Perspective to Wellness. And I would be giving an insight from Bhagavad Gita, what, as per Bhagavad Gita, how the psychological wellness can be handled. Yeah. So the first question is that why Bhagavad Gita? Why not any other scriptures? Why is it that we are talking about an insight from Bhagavad Gita? Uh, so let us look at one of the shlok from Glories of Gita or Gita Mahatmya written by Adi Shankaracharya. He says, Sarva Upanishado Gavo Dugdha Gopalanandanaha Partha Vats Sudhi Bhokta Dugdham Gita Mritam Mahat. This is the sixth slok of Glories of Gita, and Adi Shankaracharya says that Sarva Upanishado Gavo. It means all the Upanishads are like cows, are like cows. And we have 108 major Upanishads. And then he says Dugdha. Dugdha is milking these Upanishad. Gopal Nandana. Gopal Nandana is the son of the cowherd Krishna. He is the milker of the Upanishads, the cow, which is representing Upanishads representing the cow. Partha, what's Parth is Arjun. Arjun is the calf. Arjun is the calf who is drinking this nectar. Sudhi. Sudhi is the wise. So those who are Thi means intelligent. Those who are wise, who are intelligent, they are bhokta. They are actually consuming this milk, this dugdham. Gita Amrit Mahad, which is the nectar of Bhagavad Gita. So this is what Adi Shankaracharya says, that all the Upanishads are like cows, and Krishna, the son of the cowherd, is the milker. Arjun is the calf, and the wise people are the ones who drink the milk, and the milk is the nectar of Bhagavad Gita, which is the supreme essence. So, before we go into detail about psychological perspective to wellness, let us understand what does this psychological perspective to wellness means. Now, the WHO defines health as a state of complete physical, mental, and social well being, and not merely the absence of disease or infirmity. So, when we say health, it includes all physical, mental, and social well being, all the complete well being. And the psychological wellness, when we say the psychological wellness, it refers to the mental and emotional and social well-being. So the psychological wellness includes the mental, emotional, and social well-being. Now, just to explain what is psychological wellness, I mean, let's take a trigger how mental health or happiness is important. I will just give a small example that can happen with any of us. But then just imagine that there's a big businessman, and he along with all his friends and loved ones is enjoying at the beach of Goa. Yeah, he has all his kids, friends, family, and he's having a vacation on the beach of Goa. And also a very nice lunch table has been set up there. And on the lunch table, he has his favorite dishes. All the favorite dishes is put. And he's, very happy. And they all are now going to sit for the lunch, and he's like looking at the various dishes which are few of his favorites. He's really in a very very happy and jolly mood. And in that time, someone comes and tells him that the go down where all his goods had been, one of his biggest go down where all his goods were there, has caught fire. Has caught fire. And what has happened is this businessman is like, no, now out of anxiety, out of he doesn't know what to do, and he's now thinking and trying to figure out what should be his next steps and how to go and save his goods which is there in the go down. So nothing has changed. Neither the people around him has changed, neither the lunch table has changed, neither his favorite dishes has changed. What has changed? is a information, and that information has triggered on his mental, it has affected his mental and emotional health, and because of which he is now in anxiety. Yeah. So it is very well, this is just a trigger, it is not a, it's just a trigger to understand how, when everything is fine outside, but when internally, when we are not mentally healthy, or some triggers that happens, it can actually cause immense pressure, or health issues for us. Externally people may look fine, but because of this mental, triggers, there could be a mental problem. Psychological wellness is very, very important for a balanced, for a good and healthy life, right? So let us understand why psychological wellness is important, and let us see some of the areas. For example, thoughts. In the area of thoughts, if we are not well, then we will see confusion, negativity, overthinking. Whereas if we are psychologically well, then we'll have clarity, optimism, focus. Similarly, emotionally, if we are not well, then we will see anxiety, anger, mood swings, chaos. But when, if we are well, we see balance, calm, confidence. Similarly, in relationship, if mentally we are troubled, we are not very fine, or emotionally we are troubled, we see there's a conflict. Conflict happens, loneliness is felt, withdrawal happens. But if we are happy mentally and emotionally, then we have connections, we have trust, we have empathy. Stress response, if we are mentally without wellness, we see burnout, fatigue, whereas with wellness we see resilience. Purpose in life, life looks emptiness, aimless, if we are not mentally healthy, whereas with wellness we have meaning and direction. Similarly, spiritual practice, if we are not mentally happy, we may not feel interested in doing prayers, but then if we are well, we are ready to to spend time in devotion and surrender. So these are the some of the impacts without wellness that can actually impact us, right? And the common issues in today's modern world that is causing the major psychological illness, or impacting our wellness. And there's also a study by WHO which says 1 out of every 10 humans are psychologically disturbed, and has some issue. And also it's majorly seen, and it is a growing trend in the age from now, from 10 years to 19, 20, 22 years. They are being seen today as a majorly affected by psychological wellness issues, right? But why we are seeing this today in our modern life? It is because of the fast paced life. We don't have time. Even a small child does not have time. Even he or she is also running, right? Running from after schools for some tuitions, or for some some games. But if you talk to anyone, everyone is short of time, everyone is running. And because of this running, what is happening? We have a poor work life balance. We don't have time for relaxing, for managing our personal life and a work life. It is said, I heard a very good example about a mixer grinder. Even mixer grinder, it's a machine. When you are using it continuously for a long time, what happens? That also breaks. It's a burnout. You have to have a, there is a switch that you have to press it, and that will only work when you rest. Even our body is like a machine. If we are constantly working, what will happen? We will have a psychological, mental, yeah, we'll have that issues, right? Now today, digital saturation is a major problem. Morning we get up, we are on phone, we are on TV, we are on laptop, again phone. So it is from one screen to other screen, which is impacting our health, eyes, ears, and everything. And then also so much sound, it impacts us mentally, and that also causes us confusion. Social media pressure, Instagram, Facebook, all these things, what is happening? Everyone puts the best of themselves there. So what happens? Everyone, it is like you are seeing the best of yourself. How many likes I have got? No one knows And imagine a Friday evening, a lady, you're seeing, oh, all your friends are actually enjoying somewhere, and see, I'm sitting at home and cooking, or I don't have to do. So all these are bringing lot of pressure in the overall, people today, and which is, because of all these things also, there's a lack of spiritual grounding. People don't have time for spiritual practices. The influence of all those, globalization, and the TV and the social media that we are in, there's a crisis in values and beliefs. There's a confusion there, and then constant pressure to achieve and be successful. That's another problem. And we are driven by external validation, not what how I think is good, but what my neighbor thinks that I am doing well, or my friends think that what I'm doing. So it is not I grade myself as per us, but by the opinion, by the friends and family's opinion. These are some of the issues which are actually impacting us psychologically, right? And the impact is chronic stress, burnout, anxiety, feeling of inadequacy, loneliness, depression, addiction, and all these leads to mental and emotional suffering. Now, let's look at how Bhagavad Gita helps us here. So although when we see the psychological models, there are great psychologists who has tried to address these issues, like Seligman's PERMA model or Carol Riff's six-dimensional psychological well-being. But Bhagavad Gita goes deeper for addressing these issues that we see today. And it is basically in three steps. First is understanding the nature of self, and let's go in detail about that. So what is understanding the nature of self? So Krishna explains, the first thing is to understand, who am I? So it's very, very important to understand why we are having all these stresses. And Krishna says, first understand, who am I and what is my real identity. Yeah. So let us look at the question, what is the difference between a living person and a dead person? What is the difference between a living person and a dead person? The dead person has his body, he's got eyes, ears, everything there. All the organs are there, right? The only difference is that the consciousness is not there. The soul, the consciousness is not there. But the living person has the consciousness, right? The living person has a consciousness, and the dead person, we don't see consciousness. Otherwise, from a bodily perspective, probably all the organs are there. Something is missing, and that we call it as consciousness. Now, so presence and absence of consciousness define a living person and a dead person. Now, normally we say, I see, I hear. Who is this I here? When we say I, who is this I? I see. So we say, okay, I means, say, Sushmita. That's what we think. So Sushmita is this body, right? So if I is Sushmita, then we say my hand, my legs. Why do we say my hand, my legs? Why don't we say I hand, I leg? If I is Sushmita, then I should say I hand, I leg, right? But I don't say I hand, I leg. I say my hand, my leg. So hand and leg are part of body. Hand and leg are part of body. But it belongs to someone else. And that else is I, who is seeing. I is something which is seeing, right? Now when a person dies, we say he has passed away. She has passed away. But who has passed away? The body is there. So who has passed away? That I has passed away, right? What we say, I see, I hear. Someone who was seeing, who was hearing is no more there, right? Someone who was seeing, who was hearing is no more there. So that I was saying that this is my hand, this is my leg. So I is something different than the body that we see. I is something different than the body that we see, right? So, or we say he has left the body, but the body is there. Who has left the body? It is that I which can see, which can hear, which can, because of which we can talk. I can talk because of that I which is inside me. That is consciousness, right? We saw that talk about consciousness. And Krishna says that what is the source of this consciousness? Krishna says, Avinashi tu tad vidhi yena sarvam idam tatam vinasham avyayasyasya na kashchit kartum arhati. He says that which pervades the entire body, you should know to be indestructible. No one is able to destroy that imperishable soul. So Krishna says that which, because of which consciousness is in our body, is soul. And that is the soul which goes away when the person becomes dead, right? The person dies, right? And Krishna also explains that that soul is imperishable, it is indestructible, it cannot be cut, it cannot be cut into pieces, it cannot be burnt. So soul is something which is eternal. Soul is something which is eternal, right? And that is what is the brings the consciousness in this body. It pervades the consciousness in this body. Also, it's just like we can understand this by an example of sun. We have one sun. Because of that sun, we have lights. The entire universe is illuminated, right? But if sun is not there, the illumination goes. So similarly, till the soul is there in our body, we are conscious. Once the soul goes away, we are not there, right? And Krishna explains later in 15th chapter, he says, Mamai Vansho Jeev Loke Jeev Bhuta Sanatana. He explains what is this soul. He explains that Mamai Vansho, Mam is mine, Ansh is part. He says this soul is Mamai Vansho, it is my Ansh, it is my part. Jeev Loke. Jeev Loke means we talked about all the 14 loks that we have. Or in this 14 loks, Jeeva Bhuta, all the living things that we have, anything having consciousness. Sanatana means eternal. They are always part and parcel of me, right? So Krishna explains that all of us, anything which is living, not only human, but there are 84 lakhs of species. Out of that 84 lakhs of species, there's only 4 lakh species of human being, and all of them are part and parcel of Krishna. That's what Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita. Now, let me tell you. So, who am I? What is the answer? Who am I? Who am I? I am basically not this body, but I am the soul. This soul has taken the cover of this body today. But what is my actual position? My actual position is that I am soul, and body is different than soul. And the next question is, what is my real identity? It is by Krishna says, Mamai Vansho Jiva Loke Jiv Bhuta Sanatana. So the soul is the part of Krishna, which is a spiritual being. Spiritual being does not belong to this world which is material. This world is a material world. And because we are spiritual being, we actually belong to spiritual world. But we are here. We'll talk about this later. My first part that I wanted all of us to be clear about, who am I and what is my real identity? So I am not this body. In this lifetime, I am wearing a body of which is called Sushmita, but my actual identity is I am a soul. I am a soul, and my soul is a part and parcel of Krishna in the from the spirit. It's a spiritual being. Now, let me tell you a story about king and his 4 wives. So there was a great king and he had 4 wives. He used to love his 4th wife a lot. And whenever he had anything, he used to go and buy lots of beautiful dresses for the 4th wife. He used to take her to go for a long walk, and he used to spend a lot of time decorating the 4th wife and time with the 4th wife. His 3rd wife was very, very beautiful. His 3rd wife was very, very beautiful. So whenever he had an invitation from any other kingdom, he used to take his 3rd wife along with him. He wanted to show off his third wife to the entire world. How beautiful my third wife is. His second wife was very intelligent and caring. So whenever he was in problem, he used to go to the second wife and take her advice. Whenever he was in problem, he used to always visit the second wife and used to discuss all anything important, anything strategic that he wanted to do. He used to spend time with his second wife and do that. He never bothered about the first wife. So what happened? Time passed and now king was about to die. He thought, now I have to die and I have really taken care of my wives. So why should I go alone? I will ask my wife to accompany me. I'll ask one of my queens to accompany me. So he called his fourth wife. He said, look, complete life. I have given you all pleasures. Whatever you demanded, I gave you all, I took you to the best of restaurants. I gave you the best of food. I gave you the best of dresses. I gave you the best of cosmetics. But now I'm going to go. I want you to come with me. She looked at him and laughed. Sorry. He was taken aback. He said, oh. Then he said, okay, it doesn't matter. I have four wives. I'll ask my third wife. So he asked the third wife, see, you're so beautiful. And I've taken you to all the places. So many places I took you. I took you to all the places I went to. So now it's time for me to go. Why don't you come with me? She said, how can I go with you? I love to enjoy life. If you are going to go, I'll marry someone else. I cannot go with you. The king was aghast. Then he went to his second wife. He said, look, we had very nice relation throughout my life. And I always valued all the opinions you have offered me. So now it's time for me to go. Please join me. And she says, but I understand. We had very good relation. I will definitely come with you, but till your burning point. I cannot join you beyond that. And now king was all extremely sad, thinking, what did he do throughout his life? He wasted his entire life in all these three queens. In the meantime, he heard a very faint voice. Is it okay if I come with you? And she turned around and he saw it was his first wife standing there. And he was surprised. The first wife, she looked so pale, so fragile, extremely ugly. And she wants to come with me. And I have never taken care of her. I never had time. I had to enjoy. I never had time for her. So he looked at her, feeling very sad. How fragile and how ugly she was. If only I could have taken care of her, she would have come with me. So this story is about all of us, each of us. This story is about all of us. We also are kings. The fourth wife is our body. We spend most of the time buying beautiful saris, beautiful dresses for our body, using the best of cosmetics on us, eating the best of food that we can do. But the body never goes, it gets burnt back to earth. The third wife is our wealth. Whatever we hard work we do, we we work throughout our life to accumulate wealth. After I go, it becomes someone else. It marries someone else. The third wife is our friends, our relatives, our sons, daughters. They are always there with us, but they can only take us through the Shamshan Ghat. After that, they cannot join us. And our first wife is our soul. That always comes with us because it is eternal. We all are bound. The soul is bound. It is bound to the cycle of birth and death. Till we have this journey existing in our life of taking birth and dying, taking birth and life, till then the soul will continue to move with us. So the fourth wife is the soul. And throughout our life, we don't have time. We are so busy to take care of our soul. And that is why she was so ugly, she was so fragile, and and that's what happens with all of us. We are so busy, don't have time, right? So it's very, very important to have this realization that the most important part for us is to take care of soul and look know what actually feeds the soul and do that, because soul is a part and parcel of Krishna. So doing that, what is to be done for Krishna, is the real living of, is taking care of the soul, not of this body which will get burnt, and we all will, it will be left here, right? So this was the first part, very important part to understand that why do we suffer. So we are talking about psychological wellness, and in psychological wellness, very, very important for us to know that we are the soul, we are not this body. Now let us go to the next part, which is the root cause of suffering, which is misidentification with body and mind, right? So let us look at misidentification with body and mind. Let us look at this one. So if I am soul, the next question will be, then why did I get this body? If I am soul, am I a part and parcel of Krishna, then what am I doing here? Why did I get this body? And Krishna explains in Bhagavad Gita that we get this body because of our desires. Our desires, it is so limitless. Based on our desires, we actually get the birth and get the body according to the desires, and also based on our karmas, the karma that we would have done, and because of the ignorance of true self. So I'll be explaining this later. So this is the reason why we get this body. So now let us go to the next level about the body. But what is this body made up of? And Krishna explains that this body is made up of 23 elements. 23 elements. But broadly, if you speak, this body is made up of two major elements, which is the gross element and the subtle element. Now the gross element which get burned is the, it's the, you can't see the picture here, so it is like, soul, then there's one circle and then there's an outer circle. So the gross element is the earth, water, fire, air and ether. This is the gross element of which this body is made up of, and when we die, this body gets burned and the gross element is left there. And then we have subtle element. Subtle element, something which I can't see. Subtle element is something which we can't see, and that is that we can't see is mind, intelligence and false ego. So mind, which is man, intelligence, which is buddhi, and false ego, which is ahankar, which is the I-ness, right? So this is the three things which goes along with us. So the soul, when we come to this world, so what Krishna has done, when it's like, when we are a part of Krishna, but then what happened, we wanted to be away from him, we wanted to enjoy, we wanted to be our masters. So what Krishna did, he created a material world, and he has put us in this material world. And as soon as we come to this material world, we become conditioned. Condition means we get wrapped, and we get wrapped by the Maya, Mahamaya. We get wrapped by the Prakriti, which is material nature. So we'll talk about that later. So now, this is how it happens. So when we go from this body to another body, the mind, intelligence and false ego, that travels it. Now the soul, this whole thing, this body that you are seeing is covering the soul. It is, soul is inside and it is being wrapped by this body, right? And Krishna says that Dehino asmin yatha dehe Kaumaram Yauvanam Jara Tatha Dehantarar Praptir Dhiras Tatra Namuhyate. Krishna says, Dehino asmin yatha dehe. Just like the soul is embodied, is covered by this body, and it grows. So only when the soul is inside, then only the body grows. The time the soul leaves, the body stops growing. So when the soul is inside, it grows from a small boy, small child, to Kumar, to youth, to a old age, and then to another body. So the soul also travels with the body, and it then moves to another body. And to understand this, we can actually look at, the shirt that we wear, the clothes that we wear. What happens, we are wearing a shirt, when the shirt becomes old, dirty, what we do, we just throw it away. We throw it away and buy a new shirt and wear. Similarly, when we grow old, the soul never grows old. Soul is always there. Soul, what does it do? It throws away this body and takes up a new body. It takes up a new body. We can also understand from a mobile phone. What happens? We have a SIM inside the mobile phone. The SIM is number is fixed, right? But what happens if when we have a small mobile phone and now we want a new mobile phone, something new has come in the market, what we do, we throw away the mobile phone external, the hardware, we take the SIM out and we put in the new phone, right? So the SIM remains same. The SIM is can be compared with the soul, and the external part of the mobile phone is basically the body, which can be changed, whereas SIM remains, then until you have the number, the SIM remains same. So this is how we can understand how the soul changes the body. And so this is how why we have the body, and this is the relation between body and soul. Now mind, what is the mind does? Mind is the storehouse of all desires and memory. So mind goes along with us from one body to another. So mind has all the desires. Whatever desires that we have is stored in the mind, and also the memories that we have is stored in the mind. So when we take new birth, we forget everything. But what happens many times, but what happens, super so Krishna is also sitting in our heart as super soul. As and when need be, actually our desires, our memories becomes, we can it becomes like, we our desires and memories are becomes active, right, based on the need, right? And many times we say that, oh, this child from childhood, he's so intelligent, he memorized the entire Bhagavad Gita. It is all because he would have been done that in his previous life, and that is the impact of that person in the next life. Someone plays very nice music, we say, it is all because that person is the soul is a journey, and that person would have done in the previous life, and which is continuing it this life. So the faculty of thought and feeling comes from the mind. Now intelligence is buddhi. The buddhi is a part which is the faculty of discrimination, where we can discriminate between right and wrong. This is the faculty of reason and judgment. So the buddhi is the one which can do the reasoning and the judgment, right? And the false ego, which is ahankar is the I-ness. Because of the I-ness, because of this I, our soul is bound to this body. The soul gets bound to this body. It forgets its real self, that I am a part and parcel of Krishna. But what it remembers, it says I, and I am Sushmita, and my whole life becomes, my whole life gets finished in taking care of Sushmita, her relationships and everything, forgetting that I am the soul and actually I should focus on Krishna. So that is why we get entangled, right? Now, the soul, mind and body. So what happens, how does the body talk to the soul? Body is the gross body, so the body talks to the soul via the mind. So mind is a very, very important component. Mind is the component through which body is interacting with soul, right? So if suppose for a computer engineer or someone who is computer savvy, we can say in a computer we have hardware. So all the hardware, or we can say from the mobile perspective, so mobile, the external mobile that we see, the hardware, that is, you can call it as a body, right? But what we do, we install some application inside the mobile. If I don't install Paytm or Google Pay, I cannot use it. So that software is the mind, and through that mind it interacts with the sim. It interacts with the sim. So sim is the soul. So the soul interacts with the external body, which we do the, do the payment and all that is external body, via the application called Google Pay or Paytm or any such things. So the application is like a mind. So mind is interacting, so the sim is interacting with the hardware via the application. So similarly, the soul is interacting with the body via the mind. So mind is a very, very important component in our psychological wellness, right? So this is how so till now I have explained about the body, soul, body, and where exactly the problem is, which is the mind. Let's now go to the, now in Kathopanishad, There's a very nice example to understand about our entire body, which is compared by a chariot. There's an analogy given of a chariot. In this chariot, it is said that the chariot that we see, the chariot is compared to the body. The chariot is compared to the body. The passenger who is sitting in the chariot is basically the soul. The passenger who is sitting in the chariot is the soul. The charioteer who is actually taking the chariot is the intelligence. The horses are the senses, and the rope which is called reins, which is connected from the horse in the hand of the charioteer, that rope is called, is compared to the mind. It's compared to the mind. So let us visualize that. As you can see on my computer, we have a chariot where the chariot is the body, the passenger is the soul, the charioteer is the intelligence, the horses are the senses, and the rope is in the rope which is in the hand of the charioteer is the mind. Now imagine there are three horses connected to my chariot. One horse wants to go and graze grass, wants to do that. Now the second horse wants to drink water, and the third horse wants to eat something else. Now, so all the three horses wants to go in different direction, and the rope which is being held in the hand of charioteer, the rope is very slack. It is not really held tightly. The rope is weak. So what is happening? And imagine the chariot is actually moving, and the horses, then what will happen? They will go in all different direction. When the horses go in different direction, and if the ropes are not held tightly and the ropes are not tight, what will happen? The passenger will fall down. The passenger will fall down. Huh? So it's very important. So if the charioteer is weak and the reins are slack, so if the mind is slack and the charioteer is weak, then what will happen? The horses will run uncontrolled. So if the intelligence is weak and the mind is weak, then the senses will be uncontrolled, right? Now the passenger in the chariot will fall down helplessly. If it happens, what will happen? The soul will actually fall down. The soul will be dragged helplessly, experiencing confusion, suffering, and misdirection, right? But if the chariot is strong and is holding the rein strongly, then the horses will be controlled and the passenger will reach its final destination. We agree to that? So what is happening? Now let's compare this whole example with our psychological wellness, right? The untrained horses that we see are our uncontrolled senses. Why do we have this anxiety? Why do we have distraction? Why do we have addiction? Because our senses are not controlled. Our senses are not controlled. Our senses wants to run in different direction. So what will happen? Because of which we have addiction, we have distraction. Now when the rope is not strong, if the mind is not steady, then what will happen? We will have anxiety, indecision. We will have anxiety because mind will not be able to control the horses. And when mind cannot control the horses, then we will fall down. And if the charioteer is weak, then what will happen? We will make poor choices in our life. Our choices that we'll make will be not good. And if the passenger doesn't know, if the passenger is sleeping, so if the soul doesn't know who I am and what my destination is, then what will happen? The You will not know the purpose of our life, the goal of our life, and we'll be always busy in the enjoyment for the body and stuck in the cycle of birth and death, right? So if we are not aware about who am I, what is my real identity, if the passenger is sleeping, so if we don't know that, then what will happen? The life will be spent only in enjoying, and then the real purpose of going back to Godhead, going towards liberation, going towards moksha will go away because I don't know, right? So psychological wellness and this chariot model is very strongly connected. So if we want to have psychological wellness, then we have to control our senses through the mind. We have to have control our senses. We should know what is right, what is wrong, what should our senses do, which will take us back to Godhead through mind. Our mind should be trained through intellect, and intellect should be trained by spiritual knowledge. what is the food for intellect? For buddhi. How can we control and make our buddhi stronger? How can we make our intelligence stronger? It's by giving spiritual knowledge to our intelligence. When we feed our intelligence, buddhi, with spiritual knowledge, then it'll know how to control the mind, because we have to make our intelligence stronger to control the mind. And then it says, right, and if we do that, then our soul will reach the right destination, back to Godhead, and we will get inner peace and liberation. So this was the root cause of our suffering, that uncontrolled senses, weak mind, weak intellect, and the soul not knowing, we not knowing what is our, who am I, and what is our real identity, right? So now let us see what is the solution for it. What is the ultimate solution? And in Bhagavad Gita, Krishna explains self-realization, mastery of mind, and divine connect as the solution. So let us now focus on mind, mastery of mind. Why mind is so important? And Krishna explains in chapter 6, he says, बुद्धिरात्मात्मना tasya येनात्मैवात्मनः जित anatmanastu shatrutve vartetatmaiv shatruvat. Krishna says that for one who has conquered the mind is the best of friends. But for one who has failed to do so, the mind is the greatest enemy. So the first thing that we need to do, if we want to, come out of the cycle of birth and death, or get into psychological wellness, to have peace and live a life without peace and free of anxiety, we have to actually control our mind. Because if the mind is controlled, then it is best friend. But when the mind is not controlled, it is the greatest enemy. And that is control, that we can imagine how the mind will behave. We can compare it with a small child, a child of 4 or 5 years, and you have given a sharp knife in the hand of a child. What will happen? If the child has a sharp knife in the hand, first of all, it will damage itself. It can damage itself. And with this knife, it can go and damage anything, others, and anything in the house. Anything that, because it is like a uncontrolled, he doesn't know right and wrong, right? We can also compare the uncontrolled mind to an uncontrolled fire. What will happen if the fire gets uncontrolled? How much damage it can make? Similarly, an uncontrolled mind can actually damage the soul heavily, right? Or we can compare it with a car that is being driven by a drunkard driver. So imagine a drunkard driver driving a car. How many people he can kill on the way, he or she will also not know, right? So an uncontrolled mind pulls us away from what we know is right or beneficial, and instead bind us to impulse, emotion, and anxiety, right? So it is very, very important for us to have a controlled mind. Now let us look at how the Arjun's dilemma, how Krishna spoke Bhagavad Gita, what we are using today. So it started, the first chapter of Bhagavad Gita, it starts with Arjun's dilemma. So we all know that Arjun, the Pandavas and Krishna, they tried their best to stop the Kurukshetra war. They tried their best, but still, what happened? Finally, the war had to happen. Now, Arjun is a great warrior. He's the best warrior. He's such a great warrior that even Shiva wanted to test his valor. And what Shiva did was, he actually disguised himself as a hunter, Kirita, and he actually fought with Arjun to test his strength. And finally, he was so impressed by Arjun's strength that he gave him Pashupata Astra, that was given by Shiva to Arjun. Now that Arjun, who is such a great warrior, what happened? When he came to the battlefield extremely happy, very sure that he's going to win this war. And he asked Krishna, who was his charioteer. So Krishna was the charioteer of Arjun. So Arjun was the passenger, and the intellect, which is Krishna, was actually the charioteer in Kurukshetra war for Arjun. So he asked Krishna that, I want to see who all are there on the other side. And Krishna very smartly took Arjun and make him stand in front of Bhishma Pitama and Dronacharya. Now looking at them, Bhishma Pitama and Arjun was his favorite grandsire, favorite grandchild, and the Dronacharya, Arjun was a favorite student of Dronacharya. Now looking at them, now Arjun having the realization that if the war starts, he's going to kill all of them, and thinking that from his hand he's going to kill his grandfather, great grandfather, and he's going to kill his teacher. And then when he looked around on the Kaurva side, he saw 5 generations of people there, all men, and he saw his father-in-laws, his brothers, his son-in-laws, his sons, and seeing all those 5 generations, he was started trembling. He was compassionate, and then he was in anxiety, thinking, what will happen? What will happen if I kill all of them? His body started trembling, his mouth started drying up, his voice started slipping, and he was unable to stand. And he started thinking about what will happen, how much sinful reactions he will get. He is the son of the same dynasty, and as a son, instead of protecting his dynasty, he's going to kill them. And then what will happen if all the men dies? What will happen to the widows? The ladies will be left behind. Now thinking all these things, what happened? He said, I cannot fight. It is good for me, Krishna, to go and live by begging. I cannot fight, I cannot kill them. And he forgot his dharma of kshatriya. And Krishna, he told, I cannot take any decision. And the good thing that Arjun did, he actually surrendered to Krishna. So it's a very, very important point. If we really want to learn and if we want to get blessings, we have to surrender to Krishna. And then what happened? He finally surrendered to Krishna and said, please guide me. And at that point of time, Krishna from a friend became a spiritual master. A very important point. Someone may think, oh, Arjun was a coward. No, we should know that Krishna is the master of mystic, and Krishna actually had put Arjun into this situation. He has actually made him in this situation so that he can speak Bhagavad Gita to Arjun, so that all of us can get the advantage of that. He has stated that in the 4th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, that this knowledge of Bhagavad Gita, which he had given to Vivaswan some 120 million years ago, was actually broken. And that is why he is giving this knowledge again to Arjun, so that it can again continue and all of us can benefit from that knowledge. So Krishna had put Arjun into the darkness, ignorance, so that he can speak the Bhagavad Gita. So after listening to that, after that, Arjun said, when Krishna explained to him that mind is the biggest enemy and my mind is the best of friends, then Arjun said, Chanchalam hi manah Krishna pramathi balavadrinam tasyaham nigraham manye vayur sudishkranam. He said, the mind is restless, turbulent, obstinate, and very strong, O Krishna, and to subdue it, I think, is more difficult than controlling the wind. It is much easier to control the wind than controlling this mind. I cannot control the mind. It is impossible. Although you have explained me all the ways, but then, Krishna, controlling the mind is very, very difficult. So please tell me, what should I do? So Krishna said, so the mind is like a monkey. Sometimes here, sometimes there, sometimes there. It's a monkey, or it's like a child. Yeah, so it's very, very difficult to control the mind. And then Krishna said, asanchayam mahabaho mano durnigraham chalam abhyasena tu kaunteya vairagyen chakran. Oh Arjun, I agree with you. It is very, very, very difficult to control the mind. But by abhyas and by vairagya, you can control it. You can control the mind by abhyas, that is practice, by practice, and by vairagya. Vairagya means by detachment. These are the two ways by which we can control the mind. So we'll now go into the process of controlling the mind, abhyas. And there are 5 tools that has been mentioned in Bhagavad Gita, by which we can actually, there are more, but let's take the first 5 tools by which we can actually try to control the mind. And in Abhyas, the first thing that comes is austerity. Austerity is the first thing that is very, very important if we want to have a control of our mind. Next is Sattva, that is the mode of goodness. Third is Vidya, which is knowledge. Fourth is Mantra, which is chanting. And five is Dhyan, which is meditation. So let's just look at the first one, which is Tapa. Tapa is austerity. So austerity means what are the few things which is proposed in austerity is, first is fasting. Fasting from and then observing silence maybe for few hours in a day, then abstaining from something which we sense gratification, what I like to do, not doing that, right? Then abstaining from using mobile or digital device for a day. So all these are tapasya for us today. But why is this? Now, today, if you look at our situation, how we have now in earlier times when we said austerity, we can imagine, it's always a sage who is in forest doing tapasya for years and years together, or you will see that someone is a sage is standing in one foot and doing the tapasya. That is what the actual austerity is. But for us, it is impossible. Even we cannot, fasting or keeping silence for a few hours itself is difficult for us. So at our level, what we can do is we can start doing fasting, we can observe silence for a day, we can not use mobile. I mean, even 5-10 minutes or half an hour we are away from mobile, we are restless. Yeah, not using mobile. All these are today's in the modern world, modern time is the tapasya for us. Now, how are we today? The behavior that we show today is, if it is hot, I immediately want a AC. So you go and switch on the AC. I cannot tolerate heat. If it is cold, I immediately want the heater. I cannot I want, it's cold, please switch on heater. Now if I am hungry, or I whatever time of the day is there, I have Swiggy. Call Swiggy. I want chole bhature. Get that. I need waffle. Call Swiggy. So this is how we all have become today. Now what is the implication of that? Because of this, at the tip of our if of our hand, we have luxury with us, and that has actually made us a servant. It has actually made us a servant of our senses. Our mind has become a servant. We cannot tolerate cold, we cannot tolerate heat, we cannot tolerate hunger, we cannot tolerate, so all these things. So it is a tongue, it is the skin, it is the, so what is happening is, it is actually making our mind very, very weak. Now, so when we start doing fasting, what happens? We start knowingly, it is knowingly I am not eating. So I am actually developing a no for my, I'm intentionally controlling my hunger. So I am actually making my mind, developing the my learning, teaching mind to say no. You have to wait. You have to wait, and that is how I make my mind stronger. So that is what is called austerity, tapa. So by denying what I need, I make my mind stronger. So that is what is austerity. And Krishna explains that satisfaction, simplicity, gravity, self-control, and purification of one's existence are the austerities of mind, right? So that is one thing which is austerity for us in modern times. Then we talk about sattva. I don't think I can complete this. So this is the part one. Probably I will end at here in with tapa. I will take this section. I'll actually spend time in abhyas, explaining this abhyas and detachment in detail. So I will finish these at this point of time. It's already 1 hour, and in the next class I will continue with abhyas and detachment, and we'll finish like that, right? So just repeating this one. So how Krishna has explained, Krishna says that abhyas and detachment, these are the two ways by which we can actually control the mind. And in abhyas we are going to learn about the 5 principles, which is austerity, mode of goodness, knowledge, chanting, meditation. In detachment, nishkam karma yoga and bhakti yoga is what we will take in the next class. Yeah, so with this I will end today's class, and let's chant the Hare Krishna Mahamantra thrice. And Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. Thank you.